Well, good morning and welcome to the Trade Setup right here on Bloomberg Quint Live. I'm Neeraj Shah and let's discuss all that could impact trade today. First, though, as we do typically on Mondays, we just give you a quick snapshot of what's happening to the coronavirus scare across the world. So, some updates both for the globe and India. So, firstly, New York and UK have had the fewest deaths since the month of March. Spain and Italy have reported the smallest rise in coronavirus fatalities in more than a month. So there are some positive news flow out there. WHO, of course, casted the doubt on immunity after the COVID-19 infection as well. So lots of stories there, some of them on our website, bloombergquint.com, some of them on bloomberg.com. Do log in and try and read more about them. India updates as of 5 p.m. Yesterday. This is the latest that I have. India added about 1,975 fresh cases over 24 hours as of that time. The total tally was northwards of 26,000, nearing 27,000, including 826 deaths and 5,900 recoveries. And I think PTI is saying, quoting some government official, that Maharashtra may extend the lockdown in Mumbai and the Pune regions even after May 3rd. So that's not great news. Let's wait and watch how it impacts markets today. Speaking of markets first, last week was not the best of weeks. It was a lackluster week of sorts with largely the trend lower. So the US markets ended well on Friday, but ended lower for the week. This chart shows you how the world markets have largely done last week. But yes, US markets did end in the green in Friday's trade. So positive trade there. And maybe that plus as the BOJ decision approaches, the Asian markets too have started off with a rub of green today. So across the board, you're seeing some positivity in Asia, mainstream as well as peripheral markets. And the SGX Nifty indicates a start which is positive. I think 0.7 or 0.8%. The last time I checked, the SGX Nifty was in the green. So we might actually have a start which is in the green. But the US futures are flat to marginally lower. So don't quite know how long would the positive trade last. Now, the thing that you got to keep in mind is that even if there is a bullish trade on the Nifty, it could face resistance at this 9300, 9350 level. From there, we've typically tended to retreat and therefore watch out for that. I do believe, and a lot of people have been talking about this over the weekend to me, that the trading bias could well shift out of pharma into financials. They have been a battered space. Financials, pharma has done very well. There's an off piece of news about how hydrochloroquine may not be necessarily having the same export of trade velocity because USFDA has warned against the excessive use of hydrochloroquine, and therefore you should be mindful of what would happen to pharma in this session today. Steel companies could be impacted negatively by the POSCO guidance as well. So watch out for the Tata Steels and the JSW Steels of the world. And I do think that for any positive trade to do well, as I said, banks should do well and Reliance do better. Mind you, in a weak market last week, when the whole of the week the markets came off, Reliance Industries gained about 15%, and therefore you got to ask yourself whether the behemoth would continue rising or could it take a bit of a pause. So that's the other thing that you've got to keep in mind if you're indeed taking a bullish trade. It's had a 15% run already. Rupee, just one quick update on the currency before we move ahead. A fourth consecutive weekly loss for the currency. It had gained for the two preceding days, but on Friday's session came off a little bit, 76.47 or 57 or thereabouts. So it has weakened a little bit, and 76.5 is where it is trading currently. But what should one watch out for today, and the stocks that you should watch out today? So some earnings, IndusInd Bank, HDFC Life and Ambuja Cements are amongst the key ones. There is also an Adani part, but do watch out for these. IndusInd Bank is a battered stock. If it comes out with a surprising set of numbers, don't be surprised if there is a bout of short covering. So do watch out for IndusInd Bank. Do watch out for Apollo Tyres. Warburg Pincus has converted 5.4 crore convertible preference shares into 3.15 crore equity shares, which is about 31.65%. And therefore, the stake held by Warburg in Apollo Tyres is now up to 40.6%. This is large. Almost in the promoter seat right now. So Apollo Tyres, almost a Warburg Pincus company, so to say. ICICI Prudential Life Insurance, the VNB value of new business went up by 12%, backed by protection and non-linked savings mix improvement. This was post the results. The analysis of the results, of course, which came out over the weekend. The good part is the company sustained its guidance to double FY19 value of new business within 4 years. So they are not quite perturbed by all that's happening in the near term. Remember, Friday the stock dipped quite significantly. Could it be a bounce day today? That's the other thing you want to monitor. Mindtree, the growth numbers came out. The growth was driven largely by the top client Microsoft, which is 25% of revenues, which grew about 8.6% quarter on quarter. But other than high tech, all other verticals were sluggish. The management has highlighted softness in demand going forward as well. It'll be interesting to see what Mindtree does in the session. And Cummins India, the con call, the management believes that the recovery will be at least be 6 to 12 months away. Multiple segments severely affected by the resultant economic slowdown. The stock has had a pretty torrid last 12 months to the last 1 decade, wherein the profit growth has been in single digits, really. And this update doesn't inspire too much of confidence. Let's see if the stock has a bit of a crack today. Last but not the least, want to leave you with how important a week this one is on a macroeconomic data as well. Today, there is this talk of the Prime Minister and the Chief Ministers meet over the COVID-19 crisis, maybe over teleconference. Could we get some updates? Would be interesting. Let's see from an India perspective. The FMC meet begins tomorrow. It's a 2-day meet, begins tomorrow. And Wednesday, we will have the Q1 GDP numbers from the US as well as the Fed meet outcome late Wednesday evening. By the way, keep that at the back of your mind. So for our markets, Thursday will be the impacting factor, but Wednesday it is. Wednesday night is when we get the FMC meet outcome as well. And Thursday, aside of we reacting to the US GDP as well as the Fed meet outcome, the April series expiry, the US weekly jobless claims, and the ECB interest rate decision will all be important events that we will be watching out for. So it's a packed week on the macro front, packed week on the results front, and they kickstart today with 2 or 3 very large and important numbers. So all of them very, very interesting to watch out for. Mind you, ICICI Prudential might react. HDFC Life results come out post-market hours, so watch out for insurance as a pack, and do watch out for the bias shifting, if at all it shifts, out of pharma into financials. Let's see if that plays out this week. Thanks so much for tuning into the Trade Setup today.
How many places can you be at once? What if we said 9? Bloomberg Quint Live. We are everywhere.